Alright, what's up? Gonna be doing a quick Amaterasu review sort of video today, just talking about her general uses throughout the game. So I think she's really solid throughout all of the classic levels, right? She can be really useful on your first clears for all the normal levels. Put her in the back row here alongside of Mighty and Speedy. She'll be able to carry you through these early normal levels as a very solid damage dealer overall, especially due to the fact that her ability has a very like global range sort of effect, right? It can impact the map from anywhere, and Amaterasu can function really well with that, especially combined with the fact that it does burn damage over time, making her very solid at outputting DPS in the classic levels. In addition to that, she's also very useful for farming setups, right? When you think about farming setups, you think about the front row you have, maybe let's say you're running something like a Clyde Flamey farming setup. You would have your Flamey here, have your Clyde here, and then maybe in the middle row you could add something such as a Speedy and utilize a Crispy alongside of an Amaterasu, right? It doesn't have to be a specific setup like this, but Amaterasu is very good to add into these sort of efficient farming setups because, again, her ability does global damage, which means that it can speed up your runs, even though she won't be in the front row of your setup, right? It will still be able to output damage, and it'll still be able to kill more enemies, which overall speeds up your runs for farming. Next up, another good use for Amaterasu would be for your nightmare clears, right? Amaterasu is very solid at clearing the nightmare levels. I personally did all my first nightmare clears with Amaterasu, I believe. At least the JR nightmare one, I only completed with, well, my first complete was with Amaterasu. And I had Amaterasu at around level 400, I believe, alongside of a Speedy and Mighty. And this is able to clear the level pretty well, 20 million gold. You could definitely also look to maybe do a Mr. Flamey option, but investing that gold into Amaterasu is also a bit better moving forwards because Amaterasu is also very good in the elemental challenges as well, right? Amaterasu can speed up your IQT farming setups by a bit. Common IQT farming setups do include Amaterasu in the back row here, and then you have your Zeus in the mid row here, alongside with whatever utility units you want, the front, raw, all the super important units for IQT, but you do have Amaterasu in the back row there, because as you will see in 1 second here, I can't find Ifrit. Amaterasu is good at speeding up these IQT runs because she has global damage, which is a little bit better than having to wait for the enemies to come to the mid row here for Zeus to be able to damage them, especially enemies that are, a little bit higher HP, right? The front row can't really take care of them, but Amaterasu will be able to do a little bit better damage. Because Zeus also is in the mid row most of the time in good IQT setups, which means that having Amaterasu in the back row with the global damage can speed up your runs by quite a bit. This is the general best IQT farming setup right now, I believe. Does utilize Amaterasu in the back row here, and of course Amaterasu being a fire monster is also very solid as a main DPS in KPR, right? She is going to be the best damage option for KPR right now. Again, very high base damage. A very powerful attack coupled with the burn damage. Usually have Amaterasu in the back row here, maybe in a formation such as this one. Maybe you switch the Ifrit and the Speedy, and then you get a bunch of utility units up front or something. Some setups do utilize a Horus here. They utilize a Dry here to slow, a Zeus here to stun. Not too sure about the units that are up front actually, but it is just important to know that Amaterasu is going to be the main DPS here. Very solid overall. I would definitely recommend doing KPR with Amaterasu. If you do have Amaterasu, she's a better carry than Hades, and of course a better carry than Mr. Flamey as well, or even something like a Skellington. Yeah, it's pretty much going to be the main uses for Amaterasu throughout most of the game. I would say she is a very solid unit. Not going to be like the main unit in her farming setup. That's still going to be a unit like Jiraiya paired with Horus, or even Horus paired with Clyde Flamey. But Amaterasu is going to be a solid unit similar to Felina that can speed up your farming setups by a bit. Amaterasu, very solid carry overall. Very solid carry to transition into the end game as well, because again, she's useful in 2 of the 3 elemental challenges. So yeah, overall, I'd say Amaterasu is really solid. I would recommend going for her. Pretty important unit overall, very strong DPS, very strong element, very strong ability, and yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Like, subscribe, and see ya.